So I talked to the owner yesterday about this because I went underneath and had a look, and he said he wanted the oil leaks fixing. Well, I only really came in to have a look at, but anyway, never mind, they're not too bad. So without going underneath the car, because we will do it later on in this video, he wants the oil leak in the diff sorting out, but this gives us an opportunity to have a look why this side axle is making a bit of a noise. I'll show you some tips and tricks on how we're going to fix that later in the video, but we're going to simply fit one of these bungs like we did in a previous video. Just cut this down and put this in. Now there was questions about, do you have to put thread sealer on these, because these are pipe fittings and usually you put PTFE tape or hemp, anything really, you know, putty to stop it leaking. Well, it doesn't, because this has got oil in it. When you've got a tapered thread, the reason why you put PTFE tape and things like this is not to fill in the gaps, it's to make it lubricate so it goes in and tightens even further and stops leaks. Also, when you do joints like this on this type of idea, if you've ever noticed, you never put tape on bungs for your transfer case or anything like that which has got a tapered bung like this. The reason is that the oil acts like a lubricant, so it does the job, it doesn't need it. And of course, being like this piece welded in to the pan and this here, you can really tighten it up. Also, this is a filler plug, so it's not right down at the bottom with oil. And this, I think, was the problem with the bung in the gearbox. You see, what I did was, and this was strange for me, I couldn't work this one out. What was strange was that I sprayed all the bottom of the gearbox with a brake cleaner. I get through a crate of brake cleaner a week. And then I observed what it was doing, and you could see some of the threads were wet. Now it would be a temptation to tap out the thread to a BSPP, or is it BSPP? British Standard Parallel Pipe, that's right. Now let me tell you a little bit about those type of threads, and you'll have seen them on likes of radiator tops and 300 TDI fillers at the, you know, for the coolant right at the top of the engine or the thermostat housing. And the reason for that is when it's a parallel thread, you need a washer. Okay, when it's a tapered thread, you don't need a washer. It'll just wind its way in. So I'm not sure what to do with that underneath. It contravenes everything I've thought about. It should have oil and it should tighten up, but it wouldn't tighten up. But is it bottoming out? I don't know. Very tempting to find a BSPP tap and just tap it out. Same number of threads, it's just parallel. And then I can put a bung on with a washer and that would sort that out. I don't know, early days. But what I'm going to do now is take off the oil pan, the cover, get it degreased and put it through the sandblaster and see what it's like. Now so I was just about to do the gearbox drain bung, thinking about all things fantastic like I last talked to you about. But when I cleaned up the old bung, wait a minute, let's get this one out of the way. Can you see the threads are damaged? And you can see here by the darkened spot here that that's how far it's gone in. So I bet you oil's been creeping around the threads. Fortunately, we've got a new one, well, a good one here. I'm going to clean that up and try it. Should be okay. Now I did drop the oil out of this differential and the gearbox last night, so it's had plenty of time to drain out, because you know there's nothing worse than working under a car when it's all dripping with oil. Now another thing he mentioned which was really unusual was that I mentioned that I'd put like almost a full gallon of, American gallon, of coolant in the engine, and of course the gauge was showing red. He said the last owner had problems with it overheating. Strange, eh? Now, one thing that sometimes happens is that people take the thermostats out I think I'll take the thermostat out of this bad boy and have a look and see if somebody's just taking it out. The reason for that is that on some cars, now not everyone, but the thermostat acts like not only a valve to let hot coolant out into your radiator, there's a bypass in the engine as well. So when water gets hot, but not hot enough to open the thermostat, it circulates back around the engine and keeping it going all the time. It's very important. And that's why sometimes you get sort of engines like 300 TDIs, if you take the thermostat out, the engine actually runs hotter because it just can't go anywhere. It's just going round and round in a sort of an easier loop. It won't go through the radiator. We'll have a look at that. But that was interesting. Also interesting was that I should have checked the rear heater. There's a heater in the back of this. I didn't check if it was getting warm. So once we've finished underneath here, and there isn't all that much to do, we'll have it drop down, and he wants me to make another bracket for the throttle cable because that was really pathetic. It was just like a 5-year-old had done it. We'll make a nice bracket for the cable and the return spring, and then we'll report back. No, I haven't shrunk. What we're going to do now, while the cover's off and getting painted, because I fixed it up with a new bung, we thought we'll try and have a look at why this has got some backlash here. So the easiest way to do it on these old drum brake ones is to tighten up the opposite side brake. It's probably never been adjusted. There, tighten that up, and then with a 17mm we get ready to tighten up the front prop. First of all, let's see what's happened here. Listen. So let's tighten up now. Handbrake. Oh, crying out loud, it's not one of these early, it's one of these early ones, isn't it? I'll tell you what, I'll just pull the handbrake on. I thought it was I thought it was the 300 TDI type, but I'll pull the handbrake on and then I'll come back. So it's the bevel gears that's moving, like the little spider. You can see how much, well, you can't. So this is how much, with the prop locked up and that wheel locked up, that's the play on the diff inside here. Now, is it worth getting excited about? Let's turn this blinding light the other way so let's see. I don't know, I don't think so. I mean, those gears only operate when you're going around going around corners. It's not much, is it? Because it's not the shaft. Because these 2.5 type drum brake axles never had the shafts go like 300 TDIs, TD5s, etc. Because they were oiled. But that requires the diff to come out. And also some set of shims, bevel shims, which I do not have. So there's no point getting any deeper into this until we've got all the bits. But is it livable? I think so. I think so. You know, it's not the end of the world. But it's just a little way to show you what's wrong. Not much. But whilst I'm talking about that, the shims that go in here, there's 2 flat ones go against the inside, and then there's 4 little concave ones that go on the end of the gears on your spider. They're not shimmed. They're, that doesn't sound right, does it? They're a fixed size. They are shims, but they're a fixed size. Now, maybe they've worn a little bit, who knows? But I mean, the only way to do it is to take the diff out completely and replace them. So I don't think I want to do that because, like I say, I haven't got the bits. But what I'm going to do now is clean off all this old cork gasket. That's going to take a long time. And then we'll have a look and put the cover on. The other things to do? Oh. I'm a bit concerned about this cooling system. I'm going to have another look at that in a minute. But for now, let's get this done. Let's get this filled with oil. And it should be alright. It's just being picky, that's all. But the first thing we've got to do is back off that brake. Otherwise we'll forget to drag it bloody brake off.